Welcome to We Make It Easy, an interactive Python tutorial. Whether you are an experienced programmer or not, this video is intended for everyone who wishes to learn the Python programming language. To get started working in Python, you need to have an access to the Python interpreter. Python can be obtained from the Python Software Foundation, that will be python.org. Typically, that involves downloading the appropriate installer for your operating system and running it into your machine. Alternatively, there are several websites that allow you to access Python interpreter online without installing anything in your computer. So let's take a look on how to install Python 3.7.1 on Windows. Open a browser window and navigate to the download page for Windows at python.org. Underneath the download button, click Windows, and you will be redirected to Python releases for Windows page. Click on the link for the latest Python release. Scroll to the bottom and select either 32-bit or 64-bit executable installer for Windows. In my end, I have a 64-bit operating system. Once you have chosen and downloaded an installer, simply run it by double-clicking on the downloaded file. A dialog should appear and just follow the instruction. Then just click Install Now. That should be all. A few minutes later, you should have a working Python 3 installation on your system. Once you finish installing Python, let's go to jetbrains.com to download PyCharm. PyCharm is an intelligent Python IDE with unique code assistance and analysis for productive Python development in all levels. There are two editions of PyCharm, that is Community and Professional Edition. Community Edition is a PyCharm Apache license, which means it is free and open source, while the Professional Edition of PyCharms give you access to additional features that you don't get in the Community Edition, such as support for remote development, web development, database support, and some further frameworks and technologies. Let's download Community Edition, run and install it. I already installed PyCharm Community Edition in my end, so let's create a new project. For project interpreter, the base interpreter redirects you to your Python exe directory and click Create. Now, we already have a new project, so let's create a new Python file. And now you have it. You have a running Python IDE. We already installed Python and PyCharm in our machine, so let's start learning Python with print command. Python is a very simple language and has a very straightforward syntax. There are two major Python versions, Python 2 and Python 3. Python 2 and 3 are quite different. In this tutorial video, it uses Python 3 because it is more semantically correct and supports newer features. For example, one difference between Python 2 and 3 is a print statement. In Python 2, the print statement is not a function, and therefore it is invoked without parentheses. However, in Python 3, it is a function and must be invoked with parentheses. To print a string in Python 3, just write In this program, we have used the built-in print function to print the string this line will be printed on our screen. String is a sequence of characters. In Python, strings are enclosed inside single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes. Python is completely object-oriented and not statically typed. You do not need to declare variables before using them or declare their type. Every variable in Python is an object. In this tutorial, we will go over for the few basic types of variables. First off is numbers. Python supports two types of numbers, integers and floating point numbers, and also it supports complex number, which will not be explained in this tutorial. To define an integer, we can use this syntax. Store the value of 10 to myInt variable, and declare print function to print myInt variable. Alright, that's it. And also, to define a floating number, we can use this syntax. Same with myInt variable, we will store the value of 10 to myFloat variable, and we will use float function to convert number into floating number. Alright, that's it. And for the reminder, the variable is always assigned with the equal sign, followed by the value of the variable. And also, variable names are case sensitive. And for the strings, a string is simply a list of characters in order. A character is anything you can type on the keyboard. There are no limits to the number of characters you can have in a string. You can have a string that are 0 characters, which is usually called the empty string. There are 3 ways you can define a string in Python: a single quotes, a double quotes, or a triple quotes. In all cases, you can start and end a string with your chosen string declaration. And for example, and then you have it. The difference between these three is that using double quotes makes it easy to include apostrophes, whereas this will terminate the string if using single quotes. And for the triple quoted string, most Python programmers use triple quotes is mainly for documentation. They use triple quotes to document some parts of the code, and the text inside the triple quotes is also known as docstrings. And also, you can use or add quotation marks within a strings by placing a backslash directly before them, so that Python knows you want to include the quotation marks within a strings. For example, in addition, simple operators can be executed on numbers and strings. For instance, it looks something like this. And that's it for variables and types. And one reminder is that mixing operators between numbers and strings is not supported in Python. And now let's talk about Python list. The most basic data structure in Python is a sequence. Each element of a sequence is assigned a number, its position or index. The first index is 0, the second index is 1, and so forth. Python has 6 built-in types of sequences, but the most common ones are lists, which we will see in this tutorial. The list is the most versatile data type available in Python, which can be written as a list of comma-separated values between square brackets. Important thing about list is that items in a list need not to be of the same type. Creating a list is as simple as putting different comma-separated values between square brackets. For example, to create a list, we need to write first we need to define first the variable. Use flavor list, and inside the bracket will be our indexes. For example, apple. Then we need to write orange. Then the third one will be the banana. Then to print our list, we need to write the print function. Alright, that's it, and we need to run the program. And that's it. A list is a collection which is ordered and changeable. In Python, list is written with the square brackets. And if you wanted to access values in a list, use the square brackets for slicing along with the index or indexes to obtain value available at that index. And take note that the first index is 0, the second index is 1, and the third index is 2. If we want to declare banana, we need to use the print function, then the variable, then slice it with the bracket and select 2. And that's it. Similar to string indexes, list indexes start as 0, and lists can be sliced, concatenated, and so on. And if you want to change the value of a specific item, we need to refer to the index number. For example, we want to replace banana into mango. To do that, first we need to declare the variable flavor list, followed by a bracket. Inside the bracket will be the index number you want to replace. Since the index number of banana is 2, we need to put 2, followed by the equal sign, then the value of the item. Then run the program. And that's it. Our list is now updated. And also, you can use for loop to print all the items on the list one by one. For example, we need to create a for statement. Run the program. And that's it. So in this for statement, we print all the items we have on the flavor list variable. And what if we want to determine if a specified item is present on the list? In order for us to do that, we need to use the in keyword. For example, we want to check if orange is present in the list. Let's do the code. First, we need to use the if function, followed by the specified item you want to check. And the next is the int keyword. And the last is the variable that contain our list. And print the result. That's it. The int keyword has two purposes. First is to check if a value is present in a sequence, and the second, the int keyword is used to iterate through a sequence in a for loop. And in Python, there are a set of built-in methods that we can use on the list. The first method is the len method. The len method is used to determine on how many items are there in a list. For instance, we need to use the print function. Inside the print function will be the len method. That's it. By doing this method, we enable to determine the number of items we have in our list. Another method is append and insert method. The difference between them is that by using append method, it will add an item to the end of the list, while insert method add an item at a specified index. First, we need to use the append method in our code. We need to append chocolate on our list. That's it. By this append method, we add an item at the end of the list. Next, we need to use the insert method in our code. We need to insert vanilla at the second position. That's it. By using insert method, we have inserted an item in the second position of our list. Another methods are the remove, pop, and del method. The remove method removes the specified item. Just for example, we need to remove orange in our list. So the code is That's it. Orange has been removed in our list. In addition, pop method, same with remove method, it will remove the specified index that we have chosen. Just for example, as you can see, the last item has been removed because we did not specify the index, and it automatically removed the last item. And the last method will be the del method. Same with pop methods, it removed the specified index. Just for example, that's it for Python list. And now let's learn about basic operators in Python. Operators are the constructs which can manipulate the value of operands. Consider the expression 1 plus 2 equals to 3. Here, 1 and 2 are called operands, and the plus sign is called operator. Python language support the following types of operators: arithmetic operators, comparison operators, assignment operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, membership operators, and the identity operators. First, we're gonna learn about arithmetic operators. Let's assume that variable A holds 5 and variable B holds 10. Then, in addition, we use the plus sign by which it will add value in either side of the operator. 5 plus 10 equals to 15. In subtraction, we use the minus sign by which it will subtract right-hand operand from left-hand operand. Five minus 10 equals to negative 5. In multiplication, we use asterisk sign by which multiplies either side of the operator. 5 multiplied by 10 equals to 50. In division, we use slash sign by which divides left-hand operand by right-hand operand. 10 divided 5 equals to 2. Another operator is a modulus operator. In modulus, we use percent sign by which returns the integer remainder of the division. Ten modulus 5 equals to 0, since there will be no remainder in dividing 10 to 5. And the last will be the exponent. In exponent, we use two asterisks or two multiplication sign which perform exponential calculation in operators. 10 raised to the power of 5 or 10 to the 5th power, we have a result of 100,000. And that's it for arithmetic operators. And let's go and learn using operators with strings. Python supports concatenating strings using addition operator. Just for example, and the result is that it integrates the string that we have defined. Python also supports multiplying strings to form a string with repeating sequence. For example, define variable, lots of hellos, equal sign, the string, then multiplication sign, and the number of times you wanted to repeat this string, and then the print function. And the result is that the string has been repeated 10 times. And regarding with lists, we join a number of lists with addition operator. For example, we need to define two variables that contains even and odd number. And also Python forming new lists with a repeating sequence using multiplication operator. For example, the result is that Python creates a new list by repeating the even number variable 3 times. And that's it for the basic operator. And let's go ahead and learn about Python string formatting. In Python, there happens to be multiple techniques for formatting string. Let's start off with the most commonly seen method, which uses the modulo operator. I say the most common simply because it has been around the longest and you see it all over the place. Python uses C-style string formatting to create new format. The modulo operator is used to format a set of variables enclosed in a tuple, fixed size list, together with a format string, which contains normal text together with the argument specifiers. To utilize this method, you specify a placeholder in a string using %s for strings and %t for integers and %f for floating numbers. And for example, let's say you have a variable called name with your username in it, and you would like to print out a greeting to that user. To do that, we have this code. We use the modulo operator to call the value of string to the variable called name. To use 2 or more argument specifiers, use the tuple or parentheses in creating program. Just for example, As you can observe in the code, we use tuple when declaring a values. And if you prefer a name placeholder for the values, we can use Python dictionary by adding parentheses. Inside the parentheses will be the name of the placeholder and a letter D for dictionary. Just for example, another technique to cover is the string format method. This was intended to be a replacement for the modulo style shown previously. This technique uses the curly bracket designator to specify where and how to format a value into string. Just for example, And that's it for string formatting method. And let's go and learn some basic string operations. Strings are sequences of characters. There are numerous algorithms for processing strings, including for searching, sorting, comparing, and transforming. Python strings are immutable, which means they cannot be changed after they are created. As we learned from a previous lesson, to create a string, put the sequence of characters inside either single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes, and then assign it to a variable. In order to access characters from string, use the square brackets for slicing along with the index or indexes to obtain your characters. Python string index start from 0. For example, Python allows negative indexing for sequences. The index of -1 refers to the last item, and -2 for the second last item, and so on. For example, joining two or more strings into a single one is called concatenation. Python uses a addition operator for joining one or more strings. For example, and also if you want to reverse a string, in Python, strings are sliceable. Slicing a string gives you a new string from one point in the string, backwards or forwards, to another point by given increments. They take slice notation or slice object in a subscript. A subscript creates a slice by including a colon within the braces. For example, to reverse a string, it works by doing begin, end, step. By leaving begin and end off and specifying a step of -1, it reverses a string. Python has several built-in methods associated with string data type. These methods let us easily modify and manipulate strings. Built-in methods are those that are defined in Python programming language and are readily available for us to use. Here are some of the most common strings method. The first one is string length method. String length method returns the length of the string. For example, the output is 11 because the number of sequence of characters inside our variable are 11, including spaces or special characters. Next will be the string count method. String count methods return the number of occurrences of substring in a given string. For example, the output is 1 because object occurred once in our string. Next will be the string upper and lower method. String upper method convert the given string into uppercase letters and return a new string, while the string lower method convert the given string into lowercase letters and return new string. For example, another method is string start with method. String start with method returns boolean true if the string start with the specified substrings, otherwise it will return false. For example, next will be the string end with method. Same with start with method, string end with method returns boolean true if the string ends with a specified substring, otherwise it will return false. For example, another method is string split method. String split method break up a string into smaller strings based on a delimiter or character. For example, The result is that string is being splitted into smaller string. And if you want to return split string as a list, you can do that by using the for loop. For example, another method is the string join method. String join method is a string method which returns a string concatenated with the elements of a table. For example, another method is string strip method. String strip method removes the specified characters from both right-hand side and left-hand side of the string, by default, white spaces, and returns the new string. For example, the white spaces both right and left side of the string is being removed. And the last method that we need to learn is the string find method. String find method returns the index position of the first occurrence of a specified string. It will return -1 if the specified string is not found. For example, finding an object into a 20th position of a specified string is not found, therefore it will return to -1. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this tutorial video, please let us know by clicking the like and share button. And if you have any ideas what kind of e-learning topics would like to be discussed, feel free to leave a comment below. And we're always happy to create a new video, a new concept for you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos.